Welcome back. You're watching Business Lunch and take a look at the markets. There is another attempt for slight recovery. At this point, 1.1% still down on Nifty 50 and Bank Nifty still continues to be 0.5% down. But on my radar, some of the counters which have gained in the last few minutes of trade are the kinds of ITC, Mahindra & Mahindra after their numbers got announced for the auto sales for the last month. Kotak Mahindra Bank, IndusInd Bank, some of those counters really revving up in terms of the support given to the overall market. Now, moving on to an important development, according to sources, ONDC, that is the Open Network for Digital Commerce, is in talks with 3 suitors to come on board as investors, including the NPCI. Bank of India is also in the process of investing in ONDC, is what sources tell us. My colleague Ritu Singh has all the details. Ritu.
That's right. It is an important development because now ONDC is in the process of finalizing these 3 suitors to come on board as investors, which will take the total number of investors in ONDC to 20. We understand that the National Payments Council of India, which operates the Unified Payments Interface, Bharat Bill Payment System, etc., that is in talks to invest about 10 crores in ONDC and acquire up to 10% stake. The final stake will, of course, be decided once the entire funding round is concluded, because remember, there's already investments from Kotak Mahindra Bank, Axis Bank, HDFC, SBI, PNB. So, 17 investors, which include your public and private sector banks, among others. We understand that NPCI has already secured an approval from RBI and the Ministry of Finance for this investment, which is expected to be announced very soon over the next couple of weeks. The other 2 investors that ONDC is in talks with include NSDL and Bank of India, which is also in the process of investing about 10 crores each as well. At the end of this exercise with 20 stakeholders on board, ONDC would have raised approximately 190 crores, which will primarily be used to meet operational expenses. An important development, especially with NPCI coming on board, it is going to be significant for ONDC, which is an open network, and UPI is going to be one of the backbones, for this network to really take off.
All right, Ritu, thanks a lot for getting us all of the details. But I'm going to ask you to stay on because we also do have some important international updates coming through. Crisis hit Sri Lanka has reached a provisional agreement with the IMF for a loan of around $2.9 billion as the country seeks a way out of its worst crisis in decades. So, Ritu, take us through the details on this one as well.
Well, Pavitra, it is a relief for Sri Lanka, but do keep in mind this is only a preliminary agreement which the staff has reached with Sri Lankan authorities. The agreement is that there would be a loan of about $2.9 billion, which will be extended subject to approval from the IMF management and its executive board, and it is contingent on Sri Lankan authorities following through some of the previously agreed measures as well. This will be through a 48-month arrangement under the Extended Fund Facility, or EFF as IMF calls it, and it will help, safeguard the financial stability, step up structural reforms, and ensure that there is a debt sustainability and financing gaps are closed. Remember, Sri Lanka owes about $51 billion in foreign debt, and about $28 billion of that is due to be paid by 2027 itself. So this almost $3 billion, loan will be a lifeline, although it will require a lot more, and that is going to depend on the kind of promises that the Sri Lankan official creditors are able to make on repayment of some of these goods, amid all of these economic and political uncertainties in the crisis that the country is facing.
Right, Ritu. Thanks so much for all those important details. And yes,